Sophia Bennett stood before her bedroom mirror, smoothing down her coral sundress. Golden afternoon light streamed through the windows of their downtown apartment. Today marked their third wedding anniversary, and she planned a special surprise for her husband, Nathan. She'd picked up his favorite chocolate croissants from Lawrence Patisserie and intended to surprise him at his office. Nathan worked as the operations director at Titan Infrastructure Group, a mid-sized engineering firm in the business district. He typically arrived home exhausted around 8 p.m., but always made time to hear about her day. Sophia worked as a family therapist at the Riverside Wellness Center, finishing her sessions by 3 p.m. most days. Checking her watch 3:45 p.m., she grabbed the pastry box and her handbag. The subway ride would take about 25 minutes. She imagined Nathan's delighted expression when she appeared at his door. The Titan Infrastructure Building was an impressive 10-story structure of steel and tinted glass, situated in the heart of the financial district. Sophia had visited several times for company functions. She knew the elevator routes and Nathan's floor number, but at the lobby entrance, a security guard blocked her path. He was a stocky man in his late 50s with graying temples. His badge read, "Mitchell Security." "Excuse me, miss," he said, raising his palm. "This is a restricted building. Do you have authorization or a scheduled appointment?" Sophia blinked in surprise. "I'm Nathan Bennett's wife. I wanted to surprise my husband with—" "Mrs. Bennett?" The guard's eyebrows rose. "I'm sorry, but I see the director's wife here almost daily, and you're definitely not her." Sophia's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "In fact," Mitchell continued, gesturing toward the glass doors, "here she comes now." Sophia turned and saw a striking woman approaching, tall, with sleek auburn hair pulled into a sophisticated chignon. She wore a tailored navy suit and carried a luxury leather briefcase. The woman looked polished and confident, and familiar. Sophia's breath caught. She recognized her immediately. Victoria Sterling, Nathan's ex-wife. The woman he divorced 6 years ago, before they'd even met. "See you tomorrow, Miss Victoria," Mitchell called out. "Same time as usual." "Of course, Mr. Mitchell," Victoria replied in a smooth, cultured voice. "Please inform Director Nathan that I've left for a client meeting. I'll return tomorrow afternoon." Victoria walked past Sophia without a glance, heels clicking toward the parking garage. Sophia stood frozen in the lobby, the pastry box trembling in her hands, as one devastating question echoed through her mind. Why was Nathan's ex-wife visiting his office every single day? Sophia's mind raced. She forced herself to think clearly. "I apologize," she said to Mitchell, her voice surprisingly steady. "I must have the wrong building. Could you direct me to the HR department? I have an appointment with someone there." The guard, satisfied he'd caught an imposter, helpfully provided directions. Sophia took the elevator to the 3rd floor, but immediately switched to another elevator heading to the 7th floor, where Nathan's office was located. She moved cautiously down the carpeted hallway, her heart pounding. Nathan's corner office door stood partially open. Through the gap, she could see him at his desk, studying blueprints with intense concentration. His dark hair was slightly disheveled, his tie loosened. He looked tired but focused. Suddenly, the associate director, Marcus Webb, a heavy-set man with perpetually cheerful eyes, entered Nathan's office. "Nathan, how's the Riverside Commons project progressing?" Ms. Victoria submitted all the environmental impact reports. Sophia pressed herself against the wall, listening intently. "Everything's on track," Nathan replied. "She's bringing the final cost projections tomorrow. Honestly, Marcus, we couldn't have managed this project without her expertise. She's exceptional. It's impressive that you two maintain such a professional relationship," Marcus commented. "Not many divorced couples can work together effectively, though I understand why you're keeping this arrangement discreet." "Victoria is a consummate professional," Nathan said carefully. "As for Sophia, I simply don't want to create unnecessary anxiety. She can be sensitive about these situations." The words felt like a physical blow. Nathan was working with Victoria daily, and deliberately hiding it because he considered her sensitive. Marcus left and Sophia quickly retreated to the stairwell. Her entire body trembled. She descended to the lobby and exited the building, Her surprise anniversary visit forgotten. In the parking garage, she spotted Victoria's vehicle. A silver Mercedes sedan with license plate 4TRS 892. Sophia memorized it. During the subway ride home, questions consumed her. Why was Nathan concealing his collaboration with Victoria? What was the Riverside Commons project? And most painfully, why did he think she couldn't handle the truth? At home, she mechanically placed the pastry box on the counter and sat in the dimming living room, waiting. Nathan arrived at 9:45 p.m., much later than usual. "Hey, sweetheart," he said, kissing her forehead distractedly. "I'm sorry I'm so late. Critical negotiations ran long." "What negotiations?" Sophia asked, trying to keep her voice neutral. Nathan loosened his tie. "The Riverside Commons project. Complex engineering specifications." He studied her face. "Are you all right? You seem off." "I bought your favorite croissants," Sophia said. "I thought about bringing them to your office but changed my mind." Something flickered in Nathan's expression. "To the office? That's sweet, but honestly, things are chaotic there right now with this project. Constant meetings and deadline pressures. It's better to keep work and home separate." That response confirmed Sophia's worst suspicions. If Nathan had nothing to hide, he would have welcomed her visit, not discouraged it with convenient excuses about workplace chaos. The following morning, Thursday, Sophia had only morning therapy sessions scheduled. She'd be free by 1 p.m. After Nathan left for work at 8:30 a.m., she made a decision that both shamed and compelled her. She would follow Victoria. Her conscience protested, but her need for truth overpowered her guilt. After her last session, Sophia took the subway to the Titan Infrastructure Building and positioned herself on a bench in the adjacent plaza, partially hidden by ornamental trees. From there, she had a clear view of the entrance and parking area. Victoria's silver Mercedes was already there, meaning she'd arrived early, possibly before standard business hours. Sophia waited, her stomach knotted with anxiety. She watched employees come and go, imagining Victoria in Nathan's office, discussing projects, sharing coffee, laughing over private memories. At 3:45 p.m., Victoria emerged from the building. But instead of heading to her car, she walked briskly down Merchant Street. Sophia followed at a distance, her therapist training helping her blend into the pedestrian traffic. Victoria entered a small cafe called the Corner Bean and took a seat near the window. Shortly after, an elderly woman arrived with a young boy, perhaps 5 or 6 years old, wearing a yellow superhero t-shirt and denim shorts. The boy rushed to Victoria with obvious affection. She embraced him, kissed his forehead, and engaged him in animated conversation. The three of them, Victoria, the older woman and the child, then walked to the playground adjacent to the cafe. Sophia watched from across the street, her mouth dry. The boy bore a striking resemblance to Nathan. The same dark wavy hair. The same facial structure. Even from a distance, the similarity was unmistakable. Could Nathan have a child he'd never mentioned? A son from his first marriage? With trembling hands, Sophia took several photographs on her phone, zooming in on the boy's features. Her heart felt like it was shattering into fragments. They'd been married 3 years. They discussed starting a family next year. How could Nathan have hidden the existence of his own child? She remembered their early relationship. Nathan had spoken very little about his first marriage, describing it as incompatible, and mentioning they'd separated amicably. He'd never once mentioned children. At the time, Sophia had assumed discussing his failed marriage was painful for him. Now she understood. Perhaps he'd simply wanted to avoid revealing his ongoing connection to Victoria and their son. Victoria and the boy played for nearly an hour, swinging, laughing, completely comfortable together. The older woman watched nearby, occasionally offering snacks from her bag. Finally, they departed. Sophia followed them to a pediatric clinic on Westbrook Avenue. While they waited inside, Sophia stood in the corridor, pretending to review appointment information on her phone. "Wells, Marcus," a nurse called out. "Dr. Chun is ready for you." Sophia's attention sharpened. Wells. The boy's last name was Wells, not Bennett or Sterling. And the middle name was Marcus, not Nathan. Confusion crashed over Sophia like a wave. If the child wasn't Nathan's, then who was he? And why did Victoria spend her afternoons caring for him? After the medical appointment, Victoria, the boy, and the older woman went to Riverside Park. Sophia maintained her surveillance, now driven more by confusion than suspicion. At the park, the older woman, pale and moving carefully, as though recovering from illness, sat on a bench while Victoria pushed the boy on the swings. Sophia moved closer, pretending to photograph the cherry trees in bloom, and managed to overhear fragments of their conversation. "How are you feeling, Claire?" Victoria asked with genuine concern. "Better," the woman replied weakly. "The doctors say I can return to work Monday. Thank you so much for watching Marcus while I recovered. You've been a lifesaver." "It's nothing," Victoria said warmly. "He's my nephew, and I love spending time with him. Besides, Nathan doesn't mind me adjusting my schedule." Sophia's breath caught at hearing her husband's name. "Does Nathan's wife know about our situation?" Claire asked quietly. Victoria's expression became guarded. "Nathan said she doesn't. He's not ready for that conversation yet. He's worried about how she might react. Maybe you should encourage him to tell her," Claire suggested gently. "Secrets have a way of causing more damage than truth." "I know," Victoria sighed. "But it's Nathan's decision. I'm just grateful he helped us when we needed it most." Sophia retreated before they could notice her, her mind spinning. The boy Marcus was Victoria's nephew, not Nathan's son. His mother, Claire, had been ill, explaining Victoria's afternoon caregiving. Relief flooded through Sophia, immediately followed by renewed hurt. If the situation was innocent, why had Nathan concealed it? Why discuss their marriage with Victoria instead of with her? That evening, Nathan arrived home at 8:15 p.m. Sophia could barely contain her turbulent emotions, but she forced herself to remain calm. She needed more information before confronting him. "How was your day?" Nathan asked, loosening his tie. "Busy," Sophia replied carefully. "And yours?" "Exhausting. The Riverside Commons project demands constant attention. I was in back-to-back meetings all day." "All day?" Sophia asked, unable to stop herself. "No breaks?" Nathan looked at her curiously. "Well, lunch, obviously." "Why?" "Just wondering." She paused. "Nathan, if something complicated was happening at work, something involving someone from your past, you'd tell me, wouldn't you?" His expression shifted, becoming guarded. "What do you mean?" "I mean, we're married. We should share everything, even difficult things." Nathan was silent for a moment. "Sophia, there is a situation, but I didn't want to burden you with it." Her pulse quickened. "What situation?" "Claire, Victoria's sister, recently had surgery. Serious medical issues. Victoria asked if I could help financially." He watched her face carefully. "I loaned them money for the procedure." "Victoria's sister," Sophia repeated slowly. "And you didn't mention this because—" "Because Victoria is my ex-wife," Nathan said, his tone defensive. "Because I knew seeing her name, hearing she'd asked for help, might upset you. I was trying to protect you from unnecessary worry." Sophia felt simultaneous relief and frustration. He was finally telling her something, but clearly not everything. Nathan was revealing fragments of truth like pieces of a shattered mirror. But Sophia could sense the complete picture remained hidden, and she was determined to see it whole. That night, Sophia lay awake long after Nathan fell asleep. His partial confession had answered some questions while raising countless others. Why was Victoria at his office every day if she was merely an ex-wife who'd asked for a loan? What was her role in the Riverside Commons project? The weekend arrived, and Nathan seemed noticeably lighter, as though sharing even a fraction of the truth had relieved some burden. "I've been thinking," he said during breakfast Saturday. "Maybe you should meet Victoria properly. She's actually a good person. Our marriage didn't work, but that doesn't make her an enemy." Sophia nearly choked on her coffee. "Meet her?" "Sure. Since we're occasionally in contact because of Claire's situation, and we collaborate professionally sometimes, it seems silly to pretend she doesn't exist. Victoria has also expressed concern that our connection might cause tension in my current marriage." "Collaborate professionally?" Sophia asked carefully. "I thought you just loaned her money." Nathan hesitated. "Well, she's also consulting on the Riverside Commons project. She's an environmental engineer, one of the best. The project required her specific expertise. Another piece of truth doled out reluctantly. So she's at your office for work? Sophia pressed. Occasionally, Nathan said, his tone becoming evasive. For project meetings. Sophia knew he was still minimizing. The security guard had said almost daily. Not occasionally. I'll think about meeting her, Sophia said finally. That afternoon, while Nathan was at the gym, Sophia did something she'd never done before. Something that filled her with shame even as she did it. She checked his phone. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through his call log. Victoria's name appeared frequently. Incoming and outgoing calls, often multiple times daily. She opened their text messages. Many were work-related. Updated environmental report ready. Meeting moved to 2 p.m. Need your approval on revised specifications. But others were more personal. Victoria. Thank you for everything with Claire. I don't know how we would have managed without you. Nathan. You don't need to keep thanking me. I'm glad I could help. Victoria. Marcus asks about Uncle Nathan constantly. He really looks up to you. Nathan. Tell him I said hello. Maybe I can visit soon. Victoria. Does Sophia know about our situation yet? Nathan. Not yet. I'm not ready for that conversation. She might misunderstand. Victoria. She's your wife, Nathan. She deserves to know. Nathan. Eventually. But not now. Sophia closed the phone, feeling like she'd been punched in the stomach. Nathan was discussing their marriage, her with Victoria. He'd formed a relationship with Victoria's nephew. He was planning visits that she knew nothing about. When Nathan returned from the gym, Sophia was sitting on the couch, phone in her lap. Sophia. He stopped in the doorway. What's wrong? I looked at your phone, she said quietly. His face went pale. You why? Because you're still lying to me. Her voice remained steady despite the tears threatening to spill. Victoria isn't just consulting occasionally. You talk to her every day. You text constantly. You're planning to visit her nephew. A child I didn't even know existed until I read about him in your messages. Nathan sat down heavily. Sophia, you don't understand. Then help me understand. Her composure finally cracked. Why are you discussing our marriage with your ex-wife? Why is she at your office constantly? Why does the security guard think she's your current wife? Nathan's eyes widened. How do you know what the security guard thinks? Sophia realized she'd revealed too much, and now she'd have to confess her own deception if she wanted to demand honesty from him. I went to your office, Sophia admitted. On our anniversary. I wanted to surprise you with croissants. The security guard wouldn't let me in because he said the director's wife comes every day. And then Victoria walked right past me. Nathan stared at her. That was... when? Wednesday. 3 days ago. Sophia's voice shook. And I didn't just go once. I followed Victoria. I saw her pick up Marcus from Claire. I watched them at the park. I went to the pediatric clinic. I've been investigating you, Nathan, because you've been lying to me for months. Investigating me? Nathan's expression shifted from shock to hurt. You followed Victoria? Spied on us. What was I supposed to do? Sophia's tears finally spilled over. My husband is working daily with his ex-wife, helping her family, forming relationships with her nephew, and hiding all of it from me. The security guard thinks she's your wife. Your colleagues don't even know I exist. What was I supposed to think? Nathan ran his hands through his hair, a gesture Sophia recognized as his response to stress. The guard doesn't know I remarried because I never made a formal announcement at work. When Victoria started consulting, I didn't want to create unnecessary gossip about my personal life. So you just let everyone assume she was still your wife? Not assume, just not correct their misconceptions, Nathan said defensively. It seemed easier than explaining my entire romantic history to the security staff. Easier, Sophia repeated bitterly. It was easier to erase my existence than to simply tell people you'd remarried. That's not what I meant. And Victoria? Sophia interrupted. You text her constantly. You discuss whether to tell me about your situation. Like I'm a child who can't handle adult information. You're closer to her now than you are to me. Sophia absorbed this. And the security guard? Mitchell has worked there for decades, Nathan explained. He's not the most observant person. He saw Victoria coming regularly and made assumptions. I should have corrected him, but honestly I barely interact with him. I had no idea he thought she was my current wife. As Nathan's explanations poured out, Sophia felt her anger softening into something more complicated. A mixture of understanding, lingering hurt, and the painful realization that they both failed each other in different ways. The next morning Sophia's phone rang. An unknown number. Hello. Sophia? This is Victoria Sterling. We met briefly at Nathan's building. Sophia's grip tightened on the phone. Yes, I remember. I was hoping we could talk, Victoria said. Just the two of us. I feel like my presence in Nathan's life has created problems in your marriage, and I'd like to clear the air. Sophia hesitated, then agreed. They arranged to meet at the Corner Bean, the same cafe where Sophia had watched Victoria meet Marcus and Claire. Victoria arrived exactly on time, dressed casually in jeans and a simple blouse, far different from her polished business appearance. Without her corporate armor, she looked younger, more approachable. Thank you for meeting me, Victoria said, ordering coffee. I know this situation has been complicated. That's an understatement, Sophia replied. Victoria smiled ruefully. Fair enough. I want you to know that I encouraged Nathan to tell you about our working relationship from the beginning. He was worried about your reaction, but I told him secrets cause more damage than honesty ever could. Yet you went along with the secrecy. I did, Victoria admitted. Because when Claire's illness became critical, I was desperate. Nathan was the only person I knew who had both the resources and the willingness to help. I didn't want to jeopardize that by pushing him to have uncomfortable conversations with you. Sophia studied Victoria's face, searching for deception. She found only exhaustion and sincerity. Nathan tells me you followed us, Victoria continued. That you saw me with Marcus. Sophia blushed. I'm not proud of that. I don't blame you, Victoria said. If I were in your position, if my husband was secretly working with his ex-wife every day, I would have done the same thing. Maybe worse. Did you think Marcus was Nathan's son? Victoria asked gently. At first, yes, Sophia confessed. He looks so much like Nathan. Victoria laughed softly. Everyone says that. Claire's late husband, James, had similar features to Nathan. Dark hair, strong jaw, same build. Marcus takes after his father, and coincidentally, that makes him resemble Nathan. It's pure genetics, nothing more. Claire's husband died? Car accident 2 years ago. Victoria's expression became somber. James was a truck driver. Winter roads, black ice. He didn't survive. Claire was pregnant with their second child at the time. She miscarried from the stress. It nearly destroyed her. Sophia felt a wave of compassion. That's horrible. It was. Claire struggled enormously. I moved in with her for 6 months to help with Marcus. She eventually stabilized, built a new routine. Then this year, the medical crisis. The doctors found tumors, benign thankfully, but requiring immediate surgery. The cost was astronomical. Claire had no savings. No family except me. I had some money but not enough. I had to ask Nathan. And he agreed immediately? Without hesitation, Victoria said. He didn't ask for repayment terms or collateral. He just transferred the money and told me to focus on Claire's recovery. Sophia felt her perception of Nathan shifting. Beneath her hurt about his secrecy, she could see the man she'd fallen in love with. Someone who helped people in crisis, who didn't turn away from difficult situations. Why didn't he tell me? Sophia asked. If it was all innocent, why hide it? Victoria sighed. Because Nathan catastrophizes. He imagines worst-case scenarios. He convinced himself that if you knew about our daily contact, you'd assume we were having an affair. He thought the truth would sound like a lie, so he chose an actual lie instead. He chose omission, Victoria corrected gently, which is still a form of dishonesty. I'm not defending him. I told him repeatedly he needed to tell you, but I understand his fear. Failed marriages leave scars. He didn't want to lose what he has with you. As Sophia listened to Victoria defend Nathan, she realized something profound. Her rival wasn't this elegant, accomplished woman. Her rival was Nathan's fear, and fear had nearly destroyed their marriage. That evening, Sophia confronted Nathan with everything Victoria had told her. "You met with Victoria?" Nathan looked stunned. "She called me," Sophia explained. "She wanted to clear the air. And Nathan, she told me everything about Claire, about James's death, about the surgery, about how you helped without hesitation." Nathan's shoulders slumped. "I should have been the one to tell you all of that." "Yes, you should have," Sophia agreed. "But I'm beginning to understand why you didn't. You were afraid. Afraid I'd misinterpret. Afraid I'd see betrayal where there was only compassion." "I was terrified of losing you," Nathan admitted. "After my divorce from Victoria, I thought I'd never trust anyone enough to remarry. Then I met you and everything changed. You were warm where Victoria was reserved, spontaneous where she was calculated. I fell completely in love with you. But you didn't trust me with the truth. I didn't trust myself to explain it in a way that wouldn't sound suspicious," Nathan clarified. "Every time I rehearsed telling you, it sounded terrible in my head. Sophia, I'm working daily with my ex-wife. I loaned her money, and I've been spending time with her nephew. How do you make that sound innocent?" "By telling it with context," Sophia said. "By explaining Claire's situation, Victoria's desperation, Marcus's loss. By trusting that I would understand." Nathan pulled her into an embrace. "You're right. I should have trusted you. I should have trusted us." They stood like that for a long moment. Then Sophia pulled back. "Nathan, I need you to understand something. The lying hurt worse than the truth ever could have. If you told me about Victoria from the beginning, about the project, about Claire, about everything, I would have understood. I might have felt uncomfortable, but I would have supported you." "I know that now," Nathan said. "Do you?" Sophia pressed. "Because this isn't just about Victoria. This is about how we handle difficult situations. If we can't be honest with each other about hard things, we don't have a real marriage." "You're absolutely right," Nathan said. "No more secrets. About anything. I promise." "I need to make a promise too," Sophia said. "I should have asked you directly instead of spying. I let fear override trust just like you did. We both failed each other." Nathan cupped her face. "So we start over. Complete honesty, no matter how uncomfortable." "Starting now," Sophia agreed. "I want to meet Claire and Marcus properly. Not as someone spying from park benches, but as your wife." Nathan's face lit up. "Really? Really? If they're important to you, they should be part of our lives. Openly." For the first time in weeks, Sophia felt the suffocating weight of secrets lift, replaced by something fragile but genuine. The tentative beginning of rebuilt trust. The following Sunday, Sophia and Nathan hosted lunch at their apartment. Victoria arrived with Claire, a slender woman with kind eyes and visible fatigue, and Marcus, who bounded through the door with endless energy. "Your Uncle Nathan's wife," Marcus exclaimed, staring at Sophia with fascination. "I am," Sophia smiled. "And you must be Marcus." "Aunt Victoria says you're a doctor for feelings," Marcus said seriously. "A therapist," Sophia corrected, charmed. "I help children understand their emotions." "Do you have toys?" Marcus asked hopefully. Sophia laughed. "Actually, yes. Let me show you." While Marcus explored her collection of therapeutic games and puzzles, the adults settled in the living room. Claire looked uncomfortable. "Thank you for inviting us," Claire said quietly. "I want you to know I had no idea Nathan wasn't telling you about everything. If I'd known, I would have insisted he be honest." "It's not your fault," Sophia assured her. "Nathan and I had our own communication issues to work through." "He saved my life," Claire said, tears welling. "The surgery, without it I wouldn't be here. The doctors were very clear about that." Nathan looked embarrassed. "Anyone would have helped." "No," Claire insisted. "Not anyone. Most people would have made excuses or offered token gestures. You gave without asking for anything in return. You visited Marcus when I was hospitalized. You drove Victoria to appointments when she was overwhelmed. You were family when we had none." Sophia felt her throat tighten. This was the Nathan she knew. Generous, compassionate, unable to ignore suffering. "Claire," Sophia said, "I want you to know that you and Marcus are welcome in our home anytime. What Nathan did for you, he did with my full support. Even if I didn't know about it at the time." Claire smiled through her tears. "Thank you." Victoria, who'd been quiet, spoke up. "Sophia, I want to apologize to you directly. I should have pushed Nathan harder to tell you the truth. I knew secrets would corrode your marriage, but I was so desperate for help that I stayed silent." "You were in an impossible situation," Sophia said. "I understand that now." Over lunch, the conversation flowed more naturally. Marcus entertained them with stories from kindergarten. Claire talked about returning to her accounting job. Victoria mentioned a new relationship she was exploring. A colleague named David who worked in urban planning. "It's very new," Victoria said, blushing slightly. "But he's kind and patient. He knows about my history with Nathan and doesn't feel threatened." "Because there's nothing to be threatened by," Nathan added. "Victoria and I are colleagues and friends. That's all we've been for 6 years." Sophia believed him. More importantly, she finally felt it, the truth of his words resonating in her chest. After lunch, while the adults cleaned up, Marcus approached Sophia shyly. "Will you read to me?" he asked, holding up a picture book he'd found on her shelf. "I'd love to," Sophia said. As she read to Marcus, his small body curled trustingly against her side, Sophia caught Nathan watching them. His expression was tender, filled with hope. Later, after their guests had left, Nathan pulled Sophia close. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For giving me a second chance. For understanding. For being better than I deserved." "We both made mistakes," Sophia said. "But we're learning." "I love you," Nathan said. "I love you too," Sophia replied. And for the first time since that fateful day at the Titan infrastructure building, Sophia felt the words carried no shadow of doubt, only the complicated, imperfect, honest truth of their marriage. 3 months later, Sophia stood in her therapy office, preparing for her final session of the day. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "Riverside Commons groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow. Victoria wants to know if you'll come. Marcus will be there with Claire. Would mean a lot to have you." Sophia smiled and typed back, "Wouldn't miss it." The next day, she arrived at the construction site, a massive lot on the edge of downtown, where the Riverside Commons project would eventually rise. Banners fluttered in the breeze. Local officials gathered near a platform. Construction crews stood ready. Nathan spotted her immediately and waved her over. He wore a suit and hard hat, looking every bit the director. "You came," he said, kissing her cheek. "Of course I did. This is your project." "Ours," Nathan corrected. "Victoria did most of the environmental engineering. She deserves the recognition." Victoria approached, also wearing a hard hat. "Sophia, I'm so glad you're here." She turned to a tall man beside her. "This is David Wright, my partner." "Nice to meet you," David said warmly. "Victoria talks about you and Nathan constantly." "All good things, I hope," Sophia laughed. Claire arrived with Marcus, who immediately ran to Nathan. "Uncle Nathan, are you going to dig with the big machines?" "Not today, buddy," Nathan chuckled, lifting Marcus up. "Today we just break ground. The big machines come next week." The ceremony began. Speeches were made about sustainability, community impact, and innovative design. Victoria was called to the platform and gave a gracious speech about collaborative engineering and environmental responsibility. When Nathan spoke, he thanked his team and specifically mentioned Victoria's crucial contributions. He also acknowledged the personal connections that made the project meaningful. "This development will provide homes for families, spaces for businesses, and gathering places for communities," Nathan said. "It represents what's possible when people work together with honesty, trust, and shared vision." His eyes found Sophia's in the crowd. She understood the deeper message. After the ceremony, the group gathered for lunch at a nearby restaurant. Nathan and Sophia, Victoria and David, Claire and Marcus. They looked like an unconventional family, bound not by blood but by circumstances that had tested and ultimately strengthened them. Marcus sat between Sophia and Nathan, chattering happily about the construction equipment he'd seen. "Sophia," Claire said across the table, "Marcus starts therapy next month. His school counselor recommended it to help him process losing his father. Would you be willing to recommend someone? I'd be honored to see him myself, Sophia offered. If you're comfortable with that. Claire's eyes filled with tears. Really? That would be. Thank you. Later, as they walked to their car, Nathan took Sophia's hand. You know what today made me realize? He asked. What? That secrecy almost cost us everything, but honesty gave us this extended family, these connections, this community. I was so afraid of the truth destroying us that I couldn't see how it might actually strengthen us. Sophia squeezed his hand. We're still learning. Both of us. But we're learning together, Nathan said. Together, Sophia agreed. That evening at home, Sophia received an email from Claire. A photograph from the groundbreaking ceremony. It showed their entire group, Nathan and Sophia, Victoria and David, Claire and Marcus, standing together, smiling, connected. Sophia printed the photo and placed it on their refrigerator, next to their wedding picture. 2 different chapters of their life side by side. Nathan noticed and wrapped his arms around her from behind. You're really okay with all of this? He asked. With Victoria in our lives? With Marcus and Claire? Sophia turned to face him. More than okay. These people, they're part of your story. Part of who you are. I don't want a husband who turns away from people who need help. I want exactly who you are. Even when I make mistakes. Especially then, Sophia said. Because mistakes mean we're real, we're human, and we're trying. Nathan kissed her softly. How did I get so lucky? We both got lucky, Sophia corrected. We got the truth. Finally. And as they stood in their kitchen, holding each other in the fading afternoon light, Sophia understood that their marriage hadn't been saved by the absence of problems. It had been saved by their willingness to face those problems together, honestly, with all the messy courage that real love requires.